The 7 ways of acquiring a stand in Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. The likelihood of stands being your favorite power system in Jojo is very high, to the surprise of no one, given the many sources from which Araki took inspiration to create them, be it famous Western rock bands or ostentatious Italian fashion brands. Quite literally in regards to the names, unlike the most abstract and original aesthetics Araki has come up with, like the humanoid rock star Pink Cat that is Killer Queen, or the ambulant armored golden wheel of time that is the world. It is undeniable that the author of the series has been diligently putting a lot of thought behind the creations for his fictional world, with the romanticization of ancient mythologies of Hamon and the real mathematical concepts of the spin. But as much as it is cool to be knowledgeable about archaic subjects, the conveniency of pop culture seems much more accessible and appealing to the masses. Having said that, we are going to take a look at all the known ways of attaining the fighting spirits of our beloved characters featured within Jojo. But before I carry on with the video, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button for more content like this, and hit the bell to get notified when a new video comes out. In most cases, stand users are either born with the ability to use their stands at an early age or with the potential to unlock one later in life. The stand potential can notably be inherited. However, without it, a person cannot achieve a stand through natural means. For those born with it, the trigger for unlocking one stand varies with the user, but is generally derived through the refinement of their talents or skills throughout their lives. Stand awakening and abilities are often tied to the user's occupation. Notable users who acquire the stand through natural means include Noriaki Kakyoin, Mohamed Avedo, Tonio Trussardi, and Kenzo. In case of animal stand users like Higi or Bug Eaten, it's left ambiguous whether their heightened intelligence is the result or a prerequisite of acquiring a stand. Secondly, the most known way you can awaken a stand ability is by cutting yourself with a stand arrow. To actually get a stand, it depends on how strong-willed of a person you are. If you're not, you will either simply die or recover from the shock. If you have someone that is able to cure you, that is, and awaken an X-stand like Koichi did, or a common stand like Josuke did. An X-stand will evolve to its final form and reach the power it was meant to harness had the user been stronger at the time he was pierced by the arrow. If your grandfather or great-grandfather gets a stand piercing himself with a stand arrow, all of his descendants will become stand users too. Some of them might not be strong enough to stand their newborn abilities, no pun intended, and die within 50 days, as was going to be the case with Holy. Unless the grandfather or great-grandfather is killed, you may or may not be able to manifest the stand abilities afterwards. Josuke was, Holy presumably no. The third way is by merging yourself with any part of the Saint's corpse. Parts react differently to different characters, as seen when Jairo and Diego each have an eye. Jairo gets skin, and Diego retained properties of a stand effect used on him. In this case, dinosaur powers from Dr. Ferdinand's stand Scary Monsters. Johnny was gifted with Tusk, which is the only instance of an act stand being granted by a corpse part. The spin. Much like the stand arrows, you can either gain a stand using it or evolve one, which I didn't include in my video 6 ways to evolve a stand because I forgot. I don't know how I could forget about something as notoriously big as this. At least it got me a bad joke. Anyways, what you can get with the spin isn't exactly a stand, but rather a form of energy that mimics a stand, and it is created when someone is capable of performing the golden spin, or the infinite rotation. We have the cavalry spin as well, also known as the super spin. It represents the most faithful emulation of the golden spin humanly possible. Stirrups were developed in the Middle Ages to get around shields and armor of mounted knights, and were invented to harness the power of a galloping horse. The rider must let the horse run with the power of the golden rectangle. That is, it must run at the most natural speed. At this perfect speed, the horse spontaneously generates rotational energy. It can then be taught through the stirrups and through the body into the arms and wrists to further amplify the throw of the steel ball. This creates a truly perfect spin that unleashes an infinite amount of energy. The cavalry spin is associated with the force that creates gravity, which is said to be the only force capable of being transferred between dimensions. In Jairo's case specifically, he didn't evolve his stand, only just projected a stand-like form of existence, so I think it's applicable for this list. The the white snake discs. These discs contain the stands of other stand users. A person is put into a near-death state when their stand disc is taken. Stand discs can be inserted in for compatible users, even allowing users like Emporio to temporarily bypass the one stand rule. Well, technically FF also kinda did the same thing, and you could argue that stands don't need to be compatible with any other stand discs. They will only get to experience the negative consequences while you humans don't, as stand discs can reject incompatible hosts, which usually looks for someone whose personality matches the stand's abilities, such as the suicidal Thunder McQueen being granted Highway to Hell. The sixth way you can become a stand user, or in this case a stand host, is by accidentally killing whoever the current user of Chip Trick is. Chip Trick is a unique stand in that it can change user and actively seeks its current user's demise. Its sole purpose is actually to single out a victim and wear down its user's psyche until it can kill them and carry on to another hapless user. I saw many people basically saying Chip Trick was not at some point Rohan's stand. Well, I don't have to tell you that that's wrong, because Araki already did and you forgot about it. Chip Trick's precise ability is to become someone's secondary stand, egging the user on to kill himself. Hurting him means hurting the user. Any attempt of the user to cause harm to Chip Trick is going to bring negative repercussions to himself, and you better think twice before forcing it off your back, unless you want to be torn open. The only good thing is you can still use your original stand abilities while you're the host of Chip Trick. Upon the death of Jesus on the west coast of North America, an earthquake reshaped the land and divided the corpse into 9 parts, which were carried by animals and moved by forces of nature throughout 2,000 years. The Devil's Palm began to form itself around the corpse parts. The palms is a large bowl of sand surrounded by big arced rocks in the shape of fingers. Those who cross them are forever changed, mostly because those who do not get a stand almost certainly die. Diego Brando, Mountain Tin, and Ringo Road Again are among those who manifested stands by encountering a devil's palm. I'd like to apologize for the lack of content recently. I have been facing some issues with some stuff regarding my monetization, but it's all taken care of now. You can expect more consistent uploads from now on, and for that reason I strongly suggest that you hit the subscribe button below, as well as the like button to show your appreciation. Also leave a comment below, I will be glad to read all of them. With that being said, thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next one.